Mask Monday. I'm squeezing it in at the end of the day. It's like 8:30, so getting it in there though. This was from my new subscription. It's called Babyface Diaries, and you get 4 masks for $9.95. So what's that, $2.50-ish each? This one is, here's the top of it. The brand is Innisfree, I-N-N-I-S free. And it is ginseng. I tore the top off where it had the manufacturer, but so it's ginseng. And I don't know if you have watched her before, but you should. It's Jules and M, and Jewlz is the name, and then M, and I think M is her daughter. I haven't seen her on there yet. I've just watched a few of her videos, but I'm guessing M is her daughter, but I could be wrong. I don't know for sure. But anyway, she did it's a challenge. She didn't challenge me, but I'm stealing it. And it is a, what do you call it? 20 question tag / challenge. I'm not going to tag any of you. I'm just going to say, if y'all want to do this, you can steal it from me, who stole it from her, who got tagged from somebody. Alrighty, it's all like regional stuff, like what do you call certain things? You know, what name does your region or your family or whatever use? So the first one is, when you're cooking food outside on a grill, what do you call it? Well, here in Texas, we call it grilling, because if you call it barbecue, them's fighting words, because barbecue is a specific thing here in Texas and most of the South. So if you're just throwing some hot dogs and burgers on the grill, you're grilling, you're not barbecuing. What do you call a carbonated beverage? I call it a soda. I know some people call it pop, but I call it a soda. The thing that you push your groceries in, I call it a cart or a shopping cart. Bugs that light up the night, I call them fireflies. I know they're called lightning bugs and other things, but I call them fireflies. Okay, now I'm going to spell this one because I don't want to say how you pronounce it yet. It's, how do you pronounce P-E-C-A-N? And I call it a pecan. But down here in the South, they mostly call them pecans, I think, but I called it pecan. I think here in Texas we call them pecans, but deeper south, I think they're pecans. Last piece of bread in the loaf. What do I call it? I can't even think of what I call it. The crust. Even though I know it's crust all the way around it, I call it the last 2 pieces, I call them the crust. I know there's several other names for that, but that's what I say. I'm not sure where you get some of these things. Is that what your parents called them, or did you pick them up along the way, or whatever? Here's another one I'm going to spell. It's C-A-R-A-M-E-L. Now, I know I leave out a letter when I pronounce it, but I call it caramel. I know it should be caramel because there's an A in there, but I call it caramel. What do you call athletic footwear? Well, when I was younger, we called them tennis shoes because those were the only way you wore those shoes was to play tennis. But now they're sneakers and everybody wears them. The little lobster-looking things in freshwater streams. Well, down here in Texas and Louisiana, we call them crawdads. I think they call them crayfish and other things in other parts of the country, but we call them crawdads. Number 10, the water tap inside and outside. I didn't know there were different names for them. I call them both a faucet. I don't know. Didn't know they had different names. The liquid that makes your car go. Gas. The space at the back of your car. That's the trunk. I know what they call it in England. The light that regulates traffic. It's a traffic light. I didn't know there was more than one thing to call it. So it'll be interesting to see if some of you all do this, what y'all call it, if there's something different. Because I've only ever heard it called a traffic light. But maybe there's other names that I don't know. Number 14, the place you buy alcohol from, the liquor store. The thing that you use to switch on the TV, the remote. The place you get your medicine, drugstore. Breakfast you eat with syrup. Well, it could be pancakes or it could be waffles. Not sure what they're looking for here and what other people would call. I mean, is it different foods they're looking for or just different words for, you know, pancake or waffle or whatever? I don't know. The thing that gives you information about streets and roads. Well, it used to be a map. Now it's Siri. The machine that you get money from. I didn't know there was another name for this one either. It's an ATM. That's all I've ever heard it called. And number 20, sweet on a stick. Took me a minute to figure out what they were talking about here. They're talking about a sucker or a lollipop. I call it a sucker. I guess if it's one of those great big giant ones, I call it a lollipop. But if it's just the little dum-dums or, you know, the little small ones, I call it a sucker. Alrighty, so those are the 20, what do you call it? What's the name of this one? What do you call it? That's what it's called. What do you call it? So I've only been into this 7 minutes, so we got some more time to chit-chat. What should we chit-chat about? I've heard through the grapevine, so we were really mad that we lost all of our subscribers. All of us in that 15-person collab lost a ton of subscribers. And we gained a bunch, and then we lost them all plus some. So we were just... But somebody, one of my ladies, told me that every quarter YouTube purges a bunch of ones, and it just happened to coincide with when we posted our video. I guess, I don't know if that's true or not. I'll have to look into it, but if that's the case, that's a little more understandable. But I'm not sure that was what the case was, because we looked into it, and like the 15 of us, we lost some of each other's. So it wasn't like they were, you know, and we lost some of the people that regularly watch us. So it wasn't like the ones YouTube purges, where if it's somebody you haven't watched in 6 months or whatever, a year, however long whatever their algorithm is, then yeah, I can see that. But if it's somebody that watches you all the time or that you watch all the time, I don't get it. They shouldn't be taking those off at all. That's not right. And I know they've done it to me where they don't take you all the way off, but they take you back a step. Instead of that fully blacked in bell, they bring you down to that other bell where you don't get notifications. Where, you know, so, I mean, if you don't get notifications, it's like you didn't get subscribed because you don't know somebody's posted videos. So I don't know what they're up to. I don't understand it. I don't know why they care. Does it bog them down too much, maybe? I don't know. So I did not get my Luxury Diva today. I was supposed to get it today, so hopefully I'll get it tomorrow. I was gonna go get my hair cut, but I decided that I like it this length, so I'm giving my appointment to my granddaughter, so she's gonna get her hair cut, and I'm just gonna get mine low lighted again, where most of my gray hair is underneath, so when I put my hair up, you see it all, because it's all like up under here. So, well, you can't tell now because it's wet. But so I go, because my hair's still, I mean, considering I'm 71, my hair is still pretty brown. She just puts a little bit of the underneath stuff that's gray. she'll touch that up. But the majority of my hair is still brown, which, considering how old I am, that's a miracle that it's still I'm not 100% gray. Most of my friends are, or they dye it, one of the two. But I don't really, I mean, I get those few little low lights, but it's like highlights, only they're putting the brown on the gray instead of blonde on brown or whatever. But, yeah, quit picking at my hand. I don't know if you can see that. I burned my hand on the oven, and it's still taking forever to heal. It keeps, because it's where it is right on the knuckles, it keeps cracking back open again. I'm putting aloe vera on it, and I'm putting Neosporin on it, trying to get it to heal up, but it's been a week or so, and still not looking good, still looking pretty yucky. Well, I'm not sure how long, let me see how long I'm supposed to keep this thing on. Oh, where's my magnifying glass? These things are so hard to read sometimes. There it is. Oh, China, Japanese, Korean, whatever it is. Well, the magnifying glass isn't helping. Oh, there we go. 10 to 20 minutes. I did find some English. Most of it was Korean. But there's a little teeny bit down the bottom that's English. It tells you 10 to 20 minutes. So it's been 11 minutes. This one feels pretty good. Feels pretty moist. We'll see how my skin feels afterwards. Usually I try and do these first thing in the morning or Sunday night, but I was busy today, so I didn't get it done till I went to, what did I go to? I went to lunch with some friends, went to the grocery store, went to the post office, did a couple videos, made dinner. Here we are, 8:30. Well, almost 9 now, because I had this on for almost 15 minutes. Well, there's still lots of goo to it. I don't even think this will rub in. Maybe it'll eventually soak in. I don't know. I'm not going to take it all off, but it was so goopy I had to paddle a little bit of it off. Alrighty, well, happy Mask Monday. If you want to steal these, go for it. I'm not writing them down below, but Jules, J-E-W-L-Z and M, she wrote them down on hers, so you can go steal them from her. That's what I did. I just got her channel up, and I just scrolled down and read the questions, and there we go. Well, I'm gonna crawl in bed and read a book for a while. I've been reading, it was a book I read years and years and years ago, and I'm almost done with it, but it's almost 1,400 pages. It's like this thick a book, although I'm reading it on Kindle, but still. It's called Hawaii by James Michener, and it's really interesting, and I wonder how much of it's actually true of what actually went on in Hawaii. And it starts with, like, the first section is when the Polynesians first came to Hawaii, and then the white missionaries come, and then they bring Chinese over to work the fields, and then they bring Japanese over to work the fields, and so it's like all these families, and then towards the end it's like the interaction of all these descendants of all these families. So it's really interesting about basically the history of Hawaii using families and people to, you know, make that history more interesting. So it's really a good book if you like history at all. If you like a lot of character building and stuff like that. I read it. It's an old book. I think he wrote it right after Hawaii became a state. So that's how old it is. Probably the 60s maybe is when he wrote it. So it's been around a really long time. And I read it a really, really, really long time ago. So I remembered bits and pieces, but not very much. So it was really interesting to read it all again. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to head off and get under the covers all comfy and read some more of my book. I'm almost done. I'm probably on the last 5%, but 5% of 1,300 pages is still quite a bit of pages. Well, I will see you all soon. Hopefully I'll get my Luxury Diva tomorrow, and we can look at that. See you soon.